The saloon doors swung open with a force that silenced the room. Three men walked in, their boots heavy against the wooden floor, their faces hidden beneath wide-brimmed hats pulled low. The smallest one kicked a chair aside, sending it clattering across the room. Everyone knew what this meant. Everyone had heard the stories about the Harrison brothers, about the towns they'd torn through, about the people who tried to stand up to them. Behind the bar, Clara didn't flinch. She'd been pouring drinks in this frontier town for 15 years, ever since her husband had died building the railroad that connected their little corner of civilization to the rest of the world. She'd raised her daughter alone, kept the business running, and learned that strength came in many forms. Her hands, weathered and steady, continued wiping down a glass as the three men approached. The middle brother, Silas, was the talker. He leaned against the bar with a smile that never reached his eyes. "We'll be having your finest whiskey, ma'am, and seeing as we're new in town, we expect it'll be on the house. A welcoming gift, you might say." Clara set down the glass carefully. Around them, the other patrons had gone silent, watching, waiting. The sheriff had left town 2 days ago, chasing reports of cattle thieves to the north. The timing was no coincidence. "I don't give away my whiskey," Clara said quietly. "You can pay or you can leave." The youngest brother laughed, a harsh sound that echoed off the walls. "You hear that, boys? The lady thinks she's got a choice in the matter." His hand moved to the gun at his hip, fingers drumming against the worn leather holster. Clara felt her heart hammering, but her face remained calm. She thought of her daughter Sarah upstairs in their small apartment above the saloon, hopefully still asleep. She thought of all the people in this room, good people who'd become her family over the years. And she thought of something else, something she'd kept hidden for a very long time. "You're right," she said, surprising them. "You're right, let me get you something special." She turned to the shelves behind her where bottles of varying ages and qualities lined the wall. Her hand bypassed them all, reaching instead for a dusty bottle in the corner, one that looked older than the rest, its label faded and barely readable. "Now that's more like it," Silas said, his grin widening. Clara set 3 glasses on the bar and began to pour. The liquid was dark amber, almost golden in the lamplight. "This particular bottle has a story," she said as she poured. "My husband bought it the day we got married. He said we'd drink it together when we built something worth celebrating, but he died before that day came." She filled the glasses to the rim. The brothers watched, greed and impatience flickering in their eyes. "After he passed, I discovered something interesting about this whiskey," Clara continued, her voice taking on an almost dreamlike quality. "The man who sold it to him was a traveling merchant, a strange fellow who claimed the bottle held something special. He said it had a way of giving people exactly what they deserved." The oldest brother, who hadn't spoken yet, grabbed his glass. "Enough with the stories, woman. We didn't come here for fairy tales." Clara's expression didn't change. "No, I suppose you didn't, but that merchant told my husband one more thing. He said, whoever drinks from this bottle drinks to their fate. Good men find fortune, bad men find something else entirely." "Superstitious nonsense," Silas scoffed, but there was uncertainty in his voice now. "Maybe," Clara said. She picked up the bottle and poured herself a glass smaller than theirs. "But I'm willing to drink to it. Are you?" She raised her glass. "Drink up. It's on the house for dead men." The words hung in the air like a curse. For a moment, nobody moved. His brothers, not wanting to appear weak, followed suit. Clara brought her glass to her lips but didn't drink. She didn't need to because the bottle contained nothing but her finest whiskey, 20 years old and smooth as silk. There was no curse, no magic, no merchant spell. There was only the power of words, of belief, and of a woman who understood that the strongest weapon wasn't always a gun. The brothers' faces had already begun to change, uncertainty creeping in where confidence had been. The youngest one's hands shook slightly. Silas's eyes darted toward the door. "The thing about fate," Clara said softly, "is that we choose it every single day. You boys chose yours the moment you walked through those doors trying to take what wasn't yours." The oldest brother slammed his glass down and reached for his gun, but the sound of rifles cocking stopped him cold. Around the room, men had stood up. Customers Clara had served for years, friends who'd been waiting for her signal. The bartender didn't rule alone. She was part of something larger, a community that protected its own. The Harrison brothers left town that night, escorted by men on horseback who made sure they kept riding. Clara watched from her window, her daughter safe beside her, and knew that sometimes the greatest strength was simply refusing to be afraid.